A warm welcome to all the participants and our speakers for the fifth webinar on D2C. This particular webinar is special because we have got speakers who are today going to talk about building products which customer really wants and the pricing strategies which really works when it comes to D2C. We have learned that there are common mistakes which we as founders of D2C normally make. We've got experts today to share their experiences today and let's learn from them. And before we start the session, I would like to ask from our participants a background about their name as well as their location and what exactly are you currently when it comes to D2C. Do you own a brand or do you manage a brand or do you aspire to build a brand? Please put in the chat in terms of your name, location, and your association with the D2C brand. Do you own a brand, manage a brand, or aspire to build a brand? So great. So we have Labdi who is joining in from Raipur. They are into Ayurvedic makeup and personal care products for kids. Okay. You have a very specific niche, Labdi, which is purely into personal care products for kids. I have seen watching a company which is into personal grooming for men, but this is for the first time that I am seeing that a company is focusing on kids. Nice. So we have other participants as well who are joining us. I request you to please put in your introduction, your name, location, as well as your association with the D2C brand. You own a brand, manage a brand, or you aspire to build a brand. So till the time we have introductions coming in from our participants. There are certain ground rules or instructions for us to enable this webinar in a smooth way. We request you to please keep your mic on mute as well as please carry a notebook and a pen so that the learnings that we are going to have today, please note it down and implement. That's what we intend to have in this webinar. Please keep your video on, and if there is any challenge from your side, you definitely can keep it off, but video on will help you be more present in the today's webinar. If you have any questions for our speakers, please park in to the chat and we will be happy to take this with our speakers end of the session. The duration of the session is basically from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, and we will have 10 to 15 minutes of question answers with our speakers. You can definitely park your questions in the chat. Please stay with us till the end because we have got a lot of surprises, a lot of things for you to learn as well as participate in a contest. The language which we are going to have in today's webinar is going to be English for the benefit of all. So our first speaker for today is Mr. Sumit Karanji. Sumit Karanji is a leader shaping India's pharmacy first skincare ecosystem. A chief business officer of Derma Touch, Sumit has scaled the brand to 1,000 plus pharmacy and clinic partners in just 6 months. Blending retail intelligence with D2C execution, his approach is rooted in a clear belief skincare is healthcare. With these expertise in pharmacy led distribution, offline online growth, and dermatologist partnership, Sumit brings a rare perspective on building trust led beauty and personal care products. He is also a founder of Kurlin Professional and co founder of DSYH, India's first e commerce payment reconciliation platform, which was acquired in 2021. An engineer by training with Master in Management from RMIT University and Harvard Business School online certification. He actively mentors startups at IIT Hyderabad Asia Accelerator Program. We are excited to learn from his real world insight on scaling brands through pharmacies, pricing decisions, and multi channel growth. Welcome, Sumit. Glad to have you here.
Hi, thanks a lot for having me. We'll be happy to share all the learnings with the participants. So when I say D2C, we have a mix of both online and offline. So happy to cover both aspects of it as in when, we progress into the discussion. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Sumit. The second speaker for today is Mr. Aishwarya Vardhan Chaturvedi. He's joining us from US, and Aishwarya brings together psychology, storytelling, and business strategy to help brands build trust, meaning, and long-term customer relationship. As a co-founder of Jaji Store, the pickle company which we all have seen in Shark Tank India. He has scaled the brand to 15 crores in less than 3 years. Through Mesh Ventures, he works closely with founders to craft strong brand identities and persuasive communication across email marketing, web, as well as social, turning storytelling into measurable growth levers. An IIT Delhi graduate, Aishwarya combines analytical depth with creative clarity, offering rare insights on how brands can stand out, earn trust, and scale with purpose. We are excited to have Aishwarya sharing his practical learnings on product thinking, pricing strategies, and trust-led D2C growth. Welcome, Aishwarya. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for that introduction, Ashish. Thank you for putting together that summary. Happy to be here and looking forward to the discussion.
So it's me, Ashish. I am from Hyderabad. I led this company, Data Incite, which is purely on D2C companies. I am also a founder and CEO of MedGenie, which started in 2012. Prior to this, I had an experience of working in IT and telecom, passed out from Symbiosis Institute of Business Management in 2024. I have been recognized by Business World 40 Under 40 Healthcare in the 2021 list. From a passion perspective, I am really into cycling, dancing, and reading. So that's how I'm based in Hyderabad, live with my parents, my wife, and two sons. That's how a small, beautiful world that I'm cherishing about. So coming to the today's webinar, the topic which we have taken based on the feedback we have got from the speakers. Today is the fifth webinar which we are doing for D2C for pharma companies. We have done more than 25 plus webinars. The D2C as a industry is growing, as we all know. There are challenges which we as founders, brand owners face on a regular basis. These are the common challenges which we are going to uncurtain today with the speakers. We are going to talk about the common mistakes in product launches, and we are going to talk about what are the things that we have to be mindful when it comes to pricing. What are the early adaptation strategies that you can adapt as D2C founders for customer acquisition? We will also learn about omni-channel business strategies. It's not always about online, but how you can also take your business from online to offline. So this is something which we would like to learn today from our speakers. We will be having this session which is going to start with, which will be interactive in a way. We'll be having 6 questions, which will be parking across our speakers, Mr. Aishwarya as well as Mr. Sumit. So what is D2C? D2C, as we all know, is a business model which helps the brand to sell directly to the consumers, bypassing the traditional distribution channel like your wholesalers and retailers. D2C is very important today because of the disposable income increasing of people in India. Things are becoming faster, cheaper, and smarter because everything is available on a click. You have variety of choices. Technology acceptance, internet penetration has gone up. It has helped D2C founders to get high margins and better retention of customers. When we are talking about future of D2C in the next 5 years, we see logistics will play a very important role, making it easier and better for consumers as well as for D2C founders. Omni-channel strategy is going to take up a very important role where D2C companies would like to also leverage on the offline channels which are available for making their product available. We have seen companies like Lenskart, Mamaearth, who have started off with being online, have now also leveraged on being available offline. So they will learn from this examples today along with our speakers. Be with us till end of the session and you will definitely learn a lot. There is a lot of initiatives which Government of India is taking via ONDC. So let's understand what exactly this will play a very important role in the days to come. As we know, we are seeing about 11,000 plus companies in the D2C space, and total business is more than $100 billion when it costs about D2C. The segments which are dominating is personal and beauty care as well as consumer electronics. We see tier 2 and tier 3 market and demand is also growing. Manufacturing capabilities will also grow exponentially as we have demand which is generating and growing on a daily basis. So coming to Data Insight, we have been organizing this webinar to understand the D2C space better. We invite founders as well as marketeers to understand what are the common challenges, problems when it comes to D2C. We help our customers to go direct to customers with regard to listing services, performance marketing, as well as doing influencer marketing. So the bonus for our participants today, one, the conversation that we are going to have today with our speakers will be converting that into an ebook, which will be released to the participants who will be there with us till end of the webinar. We'll also be having a self-assessment audit. So this self-assessment audit will help you understand where you stand today with regard to your business, your brand. And these are very simple self-assessment. There are 10 questions which we have crafted with my team who has joined us today, Renuka, Anusha, and our speakers who have given us inputs for the self-assessment. And the person who will be participating the fastest will be getting a book, hard copy from our side, which is Unstartup, which will be sending across to you at your doorstep. So very soon we'll be starting the contest. Please, the self-assessment activity, please do participate. So here is the QR code. Please scan the QR code and participate in the self-assessment activity. Self-assessment activity is very important for us to know where we are currently. And this is very simple. You have to just choose among the 3 options which are available to you. The areas that we are going to cover in the self-assessment activity is going to be on product, pricing, as well as your distribution strategy currently that you have for your brands. So please scan the QR code and participate in the contest. And if you are done, please type in done in the chat. The person who will be able to complete it, we will, their first person who will be able to, there is no right or wrong answer. The person who completes the survey the first will be able to get the book, which is Unstartup. This is a book which will be delivering to your doorstep. The winners for the same will be announced by the ends of the webinar. So if you are done with participating in the self-assessment test, the data is going to be confidential and the result of the same will be sent to your email ID. You just need to type in your name, mobile number, email ID and participate in the 10 questions which will be asked, and the report for the same as well as your current ranking with regard to your scoreboard will be sent to you. Will also help you in terms of moving forward in areas where you need to really focus on for your business. So all the participants, if you are done, please type in done. It will help us move forward. And the first question that we would like to cover today in today's webinar for our speakers. So the first question that we have today for our speaker when it comes to product strategy and innovation for Mr. Aishwarya Vardhan. When it comes to product strategy, when you have started off being a co-founder of Jaji, what are the mistakes which a founder need to avoid while designing their first product line? Aishwarya, we would like to understand practically what are the things that we need to really be careful when we are starting up or shaping up our D2C brand in the market.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, before I begin, I would like to say that giving a heads up on this question was nice because I was able to bring the best to this discussion. So I'll dive right in, in terms of how we designed the first product line at Jahaji store, and along the way, I'll share some lessons that I've learned from my last 10 years spent in marketing, looking at brands, looking at product pricing. So when Jhaji store began, we began with a series of 6 homemade pickles. Right now we have about 18 to 20. We began with only 6. 2 of them were mango, and there were some nascent varieties. For example, Ol Barobar Achar, which is I would say a flavor that I at least haven't heard of before I started Jhaji store. So in that sense, it was a unique Eastern Indian flavor that was simply not available and not talked about elsewhere. So it allowed us to like create a white space for us and make a clear positioning in the customer's mind that this is a Bihari and Eastern flavor brand, because people who were from Bihar used to have Suran and Sabzi, Suran and Achar, and they could instantly connect with it. So I would say the bottom line is like, especially when starting a new product line, that your story is the products that you introduce should be few. You should limit the choices intentionally. And the second is that they should tie into the overall perspective. So Simon Sinek has this favorite saying, like, people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. So like start with that brand story and like introduce only the products that are necessary or like fit that brand narrative really well. So other than that focus, I would also say in terms of launching, like a lot of like this is a common mistake that I've done in the past myself in other businesses, as well as seen countless other entrepreneurs do, which is to price lower than what you should, especially when launching. So you would want to go for the highest paying customer. The reason for that is the best paying customer is usually the easiest to service in a lot of sense, and they also have like more room to allow mistakes, which is important for an early stage brand. You of course like there are different ways to motivate that purchase or influence those customers, but if you focus on the highest paying customers, a lot of your problems will be taken care of in operations, and you can truly design from a customer first mindset. So when you're selling to the highest paying customer, it's also important to price your product higher in the Maslow hierarchy. So for example, for people who don't know, Maslow hierarchy of needs is a fairly old concept in psychology, which talks about how people perceive their physical and emotional needs in the world around them. So for example, at the base level, you would want to cover for your safety. You would want to have a roof over your head. The second level would be like some sort of an association. You're part of a community, you're part of a tribe. The third would to feel love and belonging to a particular place. You see your identity coming from a certain place or coming from a certain community. And further up the ladder is your ego gratification of all sorts. Now, if you look at Jhaji Store, we built a brand around the Bihari identity more than anything else. So it was a matter of pride for people to look at Jhaji Store and instantly relate with the flavors, the stories, the culture, the traditions of that region. And it appealed to them at a level of belonging, that this can bring back those flavors that I've enjoyed as a child. This connects me back to my home that I'm living far away from. That was the messaging. Like the couple of top taglines that worked for the first couple of years were "Ghar se dur, ghar jaisa swad," or "Taste that brings you home." Like so our marketing and positioning was also in line with the need that we were serving. And the higher up you are on the Maslow hierarchy, the more you can price, and the more the perceived value in terms of customer is in customers' mind is. Other than that, one more, I would like just add one more corollary to it. I have like several other tactical mistakes to avoid as well, but I would say these are the most important ones, which is like once you have priced it well or priced it well above market at a premium, you got to be confident about that pricing itself. So a customer, especially when buying from a new age brand, has all kinds of doubts, and it helps to have like see some confidence from the seller itself. So if you're, for example, if the person asks for a discount and you give a discount right away, or you announce flash sales periodically, that erodes or like that takes away the confidence in your brand that this is the fair price of the product. And maybe if I hang around more, maybe if I abandon a checkout, maybe if I drop a lead in a couple of places, I will get discounts. So that is something that you would want to avoid. Like I said, you want to find the best paying customers, and you discount hunters and not the less best customers to begin with. And once you have done that, like be confident about your pricing. It helps to have like a detailed price objection response and at hand. So for example, for people who mentioned that the price was high, we were able to like differentiate like why is that price so high. So for example, for a compared to a normal pickle that you would find in the market, we almost spend about 3 times as much in our materials. So we use pure mustard oil, we don't use preservative, we use raw ingredients, paid vendors directly, pay the people well who make these pickles. So all of that like adds up to the cost. So there's a proportion to that. The next is we are distributing these products directly to doors. That has a real cost, which is not, I would say, immediately perceivable to customers, but when you justify that in terms of pricing, that is something that people understand. The third thing that we mentioned is like, I mentioned the white space before. So the more unique your product is, the better you can, the more premium you can price, because simply it does not have a comparison in the market. So Peter Thiel talks about like creating a startup of like 0 to 1, creating white spaces, finding blue oceans, which is like, again, we could, so for example, if people were saying their price is high, we could say that there is simply no other seller where you can find an old ginger mix achar, or where you can find a kathal ka Bihari style homemade achar. So since people do not have a competition to compare it to, people could compare it to, for example, an ordinary pickle or a mango pickle or to Indian pickle. But that is again like not my target audience, not the person that I'm focusing on. For the person that I'm focusing on, there truly is no competition, and hence the price that I'm asking, again, if it is not exactly entirely prohibitive, people are willing to pay more than what you think they can pay. Yeah, so I'll rest with that without boring everybody here. But
No,
yeah, I mean,
I was really curious also, Aishwarya, to understand at Jaji store, has there been any deliberate effort around packaging? So, product is definitely inside ingredient and it should deliver the value to the customer so that you have more repeat customers. What has been the focus on packaging when it comes to Jaji? Whether you have learned the hard way or you were correct from the day one when it comes to packaging.
I'm glad you asked. So I mentioned earlier that when we're trying to reach to the best paying customer, there are different ways of appeasing them, and packaging goes a long way in terms of telling a brand story and making that first impression. So we were conscious about the primary packaging, I would say. We haven't like paid a lot of thought on our secondary packaging, and up until recently, now that we have like better labeled and more story driven boxes around that as well. But to begin with, we did focus on like the label, for example, having Madhubani designed elements in it, which again goes back to the story of this being a Bihari brand. Then the name itself, like it was simple, it was easy to pronounce, and it was right. So it did not take a lot of space. So that was front and center. Other than that, of course, like on the bottle itself, we used to have like a cloth jar, which was like hand painted, again in Madhubani style. That was like a nice touch. And this is something that we did like well up until a couple of years into the business. So I think all of those things did and yes, I mean, most important of them all, that we used a glass jar instead of a plastic one, which would have which cost significantly less. And so much, I mean, I would say like we learned the hard way later that we have like we overdid it, in the sense that we could launch a plastic jar sooner and reach a broader market and realize better margins, because glass jar was at the end of it, it creates a lot of problems in shipping. It costs more, it weighs more, like the input cost of the material itself higher, which prevented us from dropping the prices sooner. So yeah, that is again an hindsight. Maybe we can discuss further in the discussion. But yeah, to answer your question, the packaging itself had to seem premium and had to tell this brand story well, to get this right, for person to like basically to match the perception that our advertising and marketing was creating. That perception had to be matched in substance when the person received the jar. So we did pay a lot more thought to that. I would say like we have like earned praises around that packaging a lot. And I would say like on a 10-point scale, maybe we did a 7 or 8 there easily. So yes, we got it right on the first attempt. But this again comes from the last 10 years of experience consulting other brands and looking at what's happening in the marketing space, how people look about packaging design. So we were inspired by I would say the brand was called And Nothing Else. Like this is called a Whole Truth Foods now. They had the agency, I think, thought over design. Their blog, their thought leadership on this topic is great. And there are a couple other agencies internationally as well, which really speak to a lot about how do you think about packaging in terms of what it does for customer experience and how it can elevate your positioning, your product offer.
Great. So, a lot of valid points we have learned from you today. Let's also hear from Sumit. Sumit, you have been a part of a lot of companies coming to your current assignment that you are currently having as a Chief Business Officer of Dermatouch. What has been the product innovations in your category, which is very important, which is skincare? Which is people are conscious about how they look, and the decision making is also very important when it comes to how the product looks, because you can't experience the product, only the look and feel will probably give you the confidence to probably try for it or not. So what has been your learning in your categories? What are the common mistakes which D2C founders should be mindful about?
Sure. Thanks. Thanks for the question. So, just giving a brief about Dermatouch, where we are a dermo cosmetic brand where we have skincare formulations which are OTC and sold online and offline both, and specifically for solving skin concerns like acne, pigmentation, so on and so forth. So we have a range of sunscreens, serums, face wash, creams for everyday use, and which are not RX in nature, which means you do not have to go to a dermat and get it prescribed. You can buy it from your local store, chemist store, or online, right? So that's what we do. So the question is interesting. I work in skincare, which is a category where consumer is very optimistic, very aspirational, because when they purchase, they have a certain feeling about it that if I use this product, something will happen to me or my face. Marketing is very confident, customer is very optimistic before the purchase, and the reality is somewhere in between. Okay. So, what we work on sticking to the question of product innovation, like how do you innovate a product, or what is the product that a customer wants? We work on the principle of causality, which, we are often ask to ourselves that if we are launching a certain product, what is the reason for customers to buy that, right? We don't work on correlations that because something is trending, let's build that and sell millions of units there, and then once the trend is gone, just figure out another trend. So we are not a trend-based company. So how we innovate is very simple. The consumer has to have a repeat of it in skincare, otherwise it doesn't really work, right? So we are not selling fans where they buy a fan and then for the next 5 years it's all gone. So in skincare we call it innovation internally, but the consumer calls it, why did this burn my face, right? So that gap is what we need to really look before innovating, before going out to the market. So again, even if I'm selling a dermo cosmetic range, but eventually, if you see 90% of the innovation is about cosmetic, not functional, right? We do not do ingredient-based marketing in terms of innovation as well. Why? Because people don't know what a retinol does, or what an alpha arbutin works, but we focus more on solving the concerns. So what we found was, before you innovate a product, we thought that what is happening. So let's in metro cities, Ashish, you would know that the dermatologists are found in good density. So you will find, at least 5, 6 dermats in an area of 1 square kilometer. But as you move deeper towards Bharat cities, tier 1, tier 2, non-urban cities, skincare is still aspirational there. People do have the money, they want to spend, but the access to dermocosmetic skincare is not there. The access to dermatologist is not there. Even if they want to consult, there is limited options. There are no proper dermats there. And they think, so based on our internal surveys, what most customers or people think who are residing in those cities is, dermocosmetic skincare is very costly. Going to a dermat is very costly. If you go to a dermat, you have to buy at least a 800 rupees face wash. So eventually, it all boils down to the fact that they think that, dermocosmetic skincare is only for the people who have credit cards, right? So that is not the case. That's what we wanted to solve. And the reason why I'm touching upon this line of thought is because it speaks in what we are going to build as a product, what we are going to innovate for the market. So most brands, they innovate on the basis of claims, packaging, formats, or probably ingredient list. However, we have our checklist where we figure out what is the consistency of the outcome, right? So if I'm saying that, I have a detanning soap which removes the tan or reduces the tan in 7 days of usage, what is the consistency of that outcome? Because that will again reflect in your reviews and ratings. If you do not have a formulation which is consistently giving you outcomes. So that is the first point where we innovate before we have a checklist. The first point is the outcome consistency. Second is what is the repeatability or the repeat usage behavior. One of the gentlemen I think asked a question. So we have different repeat ratios both for online and offline, which we can touch upon in the further course of discussion. And the third is whether it works for all skin types. Now, when you say all skin types in India, there are mini Indias, mini geographies. On one hand you will have snow falling, on the other hand you will have burning, scorching heat. And the skin types are also very different, right? Unlike Aishwarya, where achar tastes the same across all parts of India, which is very good. So the consistency of the product formulations that we have has to sustain those temperature differences and still give that outcome because the marketing message is same, right? So this kind of things are always there in our mind before we innovate. So our innovation is not R&D driven, where in terms of what I mean to say, although the formulations are from R&D labs, we don't formulate and then go to the market. We go to the market, understand the customer behavior, what is the burning pain, what is the aspiration. So in our case, we found that in the Bharat cities, they do not have access to quality dermat based skincare products. So what we did was we priced the product, although we have a pricing discussion ahead. We priced the product keeping in mind that how do we provide or democratize Indian skincare, where we can give active ingredient based skincare to everyone in India, right? So we noticed that consumers were overusing actives because skincare in India is mainly driven by influencer knowledge, not by dermats being influencers, but by influencers turning into skincare influencers on their own, which is very harmful as well, because when the customers start using the product without proper knowledge or guidance, so we might have a product which is like 20 products outside in the market, but we spend at least 2 to 3 years just educating them on how to use, right? So all these keywords, if you pick up from the last 10 minutes that I'm speaking, it goes behind the innovation thought, and that's where the product comes. So we innovated first on efficacy, that the product has to work, bring the outcome that we are showing to them. Second is the formulation consistency and the multi-condition relevance, which means that it has to work across all parts wherever you are selling, because we are not restricted to it, any one part of India. Because in India, innovation that reduces regret, which means that you should not regret after using my product, right? So that beats any innovation that causes excitement. You might come up with a glow cream, try and use it, your face doesn't glow. So that is a big regret. We want to be in a space where the regrets are less and excitement may be less, it's okay, but at least the regrets has to be less. So this goes into our innovation thinking. So we'll cover more if you want to deep dive here.
Great, Sumit. I think a lot of things that we have learned today, one very important is basically to know what exactly the customer needs, challenges, problems are, and from there build upon products which are available, which are affordable, as well as which delivers the promise. So that is very important. You may have customer try your product because of the pricing, but he will not use your product because of the pricing. Only if he gets the value that he is looking for, that he will probably have loyalty towards you. Otherwise, switches more often compared to loyalty. So
One
that's
of the
what.
biggest myth in India, Ashish, is that we think that we are a country where we tend to buy cheap products or
Yeah,
products which are cheap. However, the reality is completely opposite. We are value conscious people.
true.
So whatever product we sell, whether at 800 or 200 or 2000, the value and the outcome that should get the customers going is should be at least 5 to 10 times of what they are paying for. I think so. We are not a cheap country.
Agreed. So we have seen that. I think let's go on the pricing part of it. So we have seen that your product is in the right place. It delivers the challenge or the problem which the customer is really looking in for. how do we actually ensure that the pricing is there in a proper manner? So let me come back to Aishwarya in terms of what are the early mistake which a D2C founder should really be mindful about. You have been talking about discounting. You have been talking about having a confidence on the pricing that you set for your product and really go all out. So as a founder who have been there, done that, what are the early mistakes that we need to avoid when it comes to pricing? Aishwarya, over to you.
Right. So, I'll basically cite some mistakes that I've seen over the years, not specifically with Jhaji Store, but like with other brands as well in the past. The first thing is that within the direct to consumer ecosystem, especially if you're shipping products, you need the products to be priced above certain. So you need a certain basket card for things to be viable. So of course, like if you have like a unit product that sells for less than that, you want to go for bundling as soon as possible, create value packs of some sorts, and have a larger story. So for example, we helped a line of natural cleaners brand. They were selling the restroom cleaner and the bathroom and the kitchen cleaner and the toilet cleaners together in this, but we could bundle that together in form of an apartment cleaning kit, which immediately took the average order value from a 199 rupees to a 999 rupees. And again, like all of that, economics starts to make sense. You can acquire a customer for 150, 200 rupees and like turn a profit on that if you have like a larger AOV to work with. So I would say the first thing is to look at look at especially in a direct to consumer universe, look at your input costs and like bundle if necessary. The other thing that I've noticed in the past is like again in a direct to consumer universe, shipping costs when added at the time of checkout increase. Like this is like the biggest point of friction in terms of people abandoning your checkout. So where possible, like try to include shipping cost in your product selling prices itself, so that the person is not paying anything extra. So for example, at Chaji Store, every combo or sample pack that we have launched has the shipping cost baked into it. So if you're, for example, paying rupees 750 for a 3 pickle combo, or rupees 625 for a sample pack of 5 pickles, that is the only cost you're paying. You're not getting an added 65, 70, 80 rupees on the checkout. So I would say, yeah, thinking about shipping prices, and in that same breath, I would also say accounting for an discount that you would eventually be paying to at least or giving out to at least a certain fraction of users who say abandon cart. Like within the cart abandonment sequence, like a small discount, 5-10% or 50-100 rupees discount is very common. And I think this is also something that's to be considered, that you would be paying out that amount on a fraction of your customers, and that needs to be baked into the margin calculation. So these are like some tactical mistakes. The other is to complicate pricing. Again, I mentioned in my first answer that like we would want to the things to be as simple to remember, simple to comprehend, simple to repeat as much as possible. So for example, at Jhaji Store, the prices that we launched our products was, so we launched only the 250-gram jar, and it was priced either at 249 or 299. There was no third price. Now, depending upon the portfolio, you might see that a particular product has very low input costs and it can be priced lower, maybe to facilitate like enter a larger market. Similarly, the product that has higher input costs can be probably marked at an even higher premium, but you would want to go for say that 20 to 80 percentile prices, and just price within that, and again keep those choices to a minimum so that the buying decision is easier, and it's easily referenceable, it's easily repeatable. So anybody who talks about it can say Jhaji Store ka chart 250 रुपए में 250 ग्राम मिलता है. Like even the customer success team has an easier time selling that, remembering those prices and everything. Yeah, I think those are the only things
So
that I would add.
Aishwarya, just to add a perspective, when you are defining a pricing for a particular product, it is about your cost, it is about your margin, it is about the hidden cost, fixed cost. Do you also do any benchmarking against your competitors? Do you do any kind of analysis before you actually fix a price to your product?
Yeah, you would want to do that, because like the way your customer is going to ultimately shop for several products at some point in the future, even if they're not doing it on the first purchase. So you want that benchmarking, but that does not necessarily mean that you need to price lower than that. Like I've said earlier, like Jhaji Store is consistently priced above competition, and I would say, depending upon how you're positioning your product, pricing the product for a 30 to 50 to 100% premium is doable. Uh, I'll say that with that premium price comes a premium shopping experience. So, for example, along implicit in that high price is an easy replacement policy and is easy refunds and returns policy, like going an extra mile wherever possible. So, for example, even if customers are so essentially ensuring a VIP experience of some sorts, ensuring free gifts, things like that can allow you to command a significant premium over the market. But yes, I mean, you got to be mindful of what your competition is selling for. And it's also important, for example, when people would say like Jhaji Store's pickles are priced high, a common follow-up question, instead of directly justifying the prices, a common follow-up question was like, what are the pickles or brands that you're comparing us to? And once the person does that, so for example, if a person is comparing us to a nylons or a tops, there are unique differentiators compared to those kind of products. Then there are say for example, niche, more artisanal kind of pickles made. There is a different line of USPs or differentiations that you can cite to those customers. So yes, it is mindful. It is important to be mindful of your competition, their selling points, their price points, and how your product is exactly different.
So we come to the second question to Sumit. The second question is, what are the toughest pricing decisions you had to make when you have actually started products, launched products into the market, and was it done the right way or you had to learn the hard way? So I repeat, what are the
I
toughest?
think most founders would agree that there is no easy way. There is, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So what I was asking you, what are the toughest pricing decisions that you have taken, or probably you took a decision and then you course corrected it after taking a feedback from your market, customers, trade partners, or probably in your case, it is HCPs. So what actually derives your decision making while you are actually formulating a pricing strategy for your product?
Sure. See, on the online front, most of it was covered from Aishwarya, what all to factor in.
Yeah.
However, there is a big factor if you're doing D2C online from your own website. You also have to consider the price that you pay to collect COD in case if you're offering COD. So in India, more than 65% of the sales still in e-commerce is happening via COD. So the logistic partners do take a fees there, which has to be factored in, especially if you're operating in an under 500, under 400, price range. That can become a big cost apart from the logistic cost. And you also have to factor in the RTO percentage, right? So even if you have an order which is on COD and it is returned back to you, then you have double the shipping cost that you have to pay, right? If it is a courier return. So in, companies like ours, once the product is purchased and if it is delivered, it is non-returnable because of the hygiene factors in skincare. But there are a lot of other categories which may not be non-returnable. So in order to go to the right price point, you do have to consider those elements as well, where a maximum of your business will happen on COD. And if you are doing prepaid or forcing any prepaid purchases, then you have to incentivize them as well. So all these factors decide on the pricing. In terms of Dermatouch, some of the decisions that we have taken in terms of which are very tough to take. See, we have an excellent product packaging. You will almost feel that it is like a doctor recommended product packaging, and it's like a pharma based, product standards. Not only in terms of ingredients, but also in terms of packaging. You will feel that you're purchasing a pharma product which is available to you from your local chemist without a prescription. So while we do spend positively on the packaging front, on making sure the tubes, etc., of the highest quality, along with the ingredients. So we did have a choice where we could have priced our product much more aspirationally than what we are having right now. But when we again went to the basic thing of who are we building it for, and that's when we came to know that we want to build it for the next billion consumers of Bharat cities, which are non-urban, non-metro, into tier 1, tier 2. We again reminded ourselves that we are here to democratize skincare. And although we had the luxury of adding a good 25-30% increase in the current pricing range, which was acceptable in the market, both online and offline, we chose to take a tough call of keeping it in a very sweet pricing spot where the consumers do not have to think twice. Because what we saw was the temptation was very clear, right? So we have premium ingredients, we have an active ingredients in all our product formulation, we have credibility of dermat-backed products, and then D2C benchmarks anyways encourages you for higher gross margins because of all the things that happen while doing D2C. So although the temptation was there, we chose to take the tough call of keeping the pricing into very, very, affordable range. So giving an affordable pricing for a very premium product is what we chose. So that was one of the toughest call, because what we saw on the ground reality was, although we have premium ingredients, we are a doctor-led brand, our real user was not a beauty enthusiast. Okay, so our real users are common persons like you and I, who have a skin concern that needs to be solved on everyday basis, just like how we brush our teeth. So we follow the principle of jobs to be done rather than seeing what the trends are, or whether this is going to give a glow to your face, etc. We don't do that. Our purchase decision, or the pricing decision, is based on who is purchasing the products. The purchasing products are the people who are value calculating household decision makers, because they have to buy this again and again, right? Face wash, the repeat usage is high, sunscreens, it is high. So if you have to buy the product again and again, you can price it high once, but then your lifetime value is dead there, right? So we wanted to be lower first margin, higher lifetime margin, rather than the other way around. And we also were aware of the fact that when we go offline, even though online you will find premium customer segments who will buy at a premium range, but if you want to really go into every chemist, every pharmacy chain who offers our product, we have to have a pricing which works for all, right? And hence that, I would say, it was a tough call to not charge higher, although the circumstances allowed us to be. So we wanted that pricing has to be constant. We don't want to depend our sales to flash sales and Black Friday sales and all those sales. That is not pricing, that is deferred discounting. So that's how it is.
Perfect. So you don't go by the trend when it comes to pricing. You don't. Your primary mantra at Damatouch is to make it affordable and accessible.
I'll also just corroborate that with some statistics for the participants, so that what I'm saying makes sense. So we started off with a different philosophy of a premium pricing, aspirational pricing. So for 2 years we did that. We did decent sales, and when I say decent, we used to do around, let's say, 500,000 orders a day at a premium pricing. When we led this shift across product innovation thinking, which I explained before, and the pricing conscious call of keeping it affordable so that maximum people, we are now at a scale where we are shipping in almost 40 to 50,000 orders a day, right? So that is the kind of scale we were able to get because of this conscious call. And recently we forayed into offline as well. So we were able to restrict the channel margins because we don't have any feet on street, right? All the sales is digital. So the parity of online and offline, which you also spoke about omnichannel. So pricing has to be consistent. It's not that you are giving huge discounts online and your offline channel will collapse, right? So that parity was also we were able to maintain at such a price point. So that worked for us.
Great. So happy to hear that. So coming back to Aishwarya, we would like to understand when your product is there in place, your pricing is set right. The third very important is basically distribution. So when it comes to distribution, you try various methods to make your distribution strategy really work, right? So the question what people are asking today is how do we actually ensure that in the distribution channel you have customers who would like to have your early adapters who would like to probably just experience your product. So, coming to your business, have you launched small size product packaging which will make the customer experience your product and then adapt to it and then probably live by it? So, have you done any kind of innovation when it comes to product packaging at the distribution side?
Yes. The short answer is yes. I have two particular stories to share. So right at the beginning, we started with just a 250-gram jar. Now that jar was the right size for both people who know the flavor and want a significant quantity to work with. So 250-gram jar would easily last a week to 2 weeks, even if you're having it almost with every meal. And on the and on more often than not, it was running into several weeks. So 4 to 6 weeks is typically when people reordered. Um, and yeah, so we started with that. Now about a year in, so most common feedback or the reason why we were replacing products or getting the products getting a negative feedback was largely that people had ordered a flavor and did not like it. So they were basically trying a new flavor which had either more spice than what they were looking for, or had more oil or less salt, like all of the different variations that you could possibly imagine. Now in that case, we felt that a smaller size jars and an assorted pack would be a better starting point for new customers. For people who are trying Bihari pickles for the first time, sample pack that has, say, 8 different flavors in 100-gram jars is a better thing to do than, say, for example, order, say, 2 or 3 250-gram jars, where you risk that you might not like a particular flavor that you have ordered. So that was again, it came from the insight that people were perceiving this as a risk, that and this was, like, of course, like in all likelihood, was a reason for several people dropping off as well, where they were not sure of the spice levels or of the exact quality that or exact texture, exact spice levels that the pickle is going to turn out to be. So we were able to, like, we launched the smaller packs as an incentive or as a offer for the first time customer to try all of these different pickles, and then come back for a 250-gram, and later in fact a 500-gram jar as well, uh, so that you could use for reordering. Now 500-gram jar is often used by people who know the flavor really well, understand it, have like large families, or are collecting it for a gathering or facilitating at a larger eating occasion. But most often, so at the beginning, it was important that we go with only a single choice, which is 250-gram jar. The choice was simple. It appealed most broadly. 100-gram jar had a different positioning, different purpose in mind, which was to, like, give people a feel of the pickles and see if they want to gravitate. 500-gram jar has a very different purpose. So it again goes back to the thought of combining, having a larger story, having the why of why you're offering that particular size, and on the other side limiting choices and deliberately constraining what you're offering to the customer, so that it's easier for them to say a yes or a no to.
Absolutely. So I think the idea which you have really worked out, which is assortment sampling, where you give options to the customer and let him pick and choose what exactly he would like to go forward deeper with you. And that
Right.
also justifies your logistic cost because having small pack sampling done via the online channel is definitely not affordable
Mhm.
from a business standpoint. It will be probably denting your own books on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, like, we even after like doing eight 100-gram glass jars, did was like not a profit making.
Affordable. Okay.
It was a loss leader product for us. And the reason is like the economics scales very disproportionately when you're looking at glass jar input cost. So for example, a 100-gram jar would cost you maybe 10 rupees. 250-gram jar would maybe cost you 12 rupees. 500-gram jar maybe cost you 14 rupees. So if you're going up the chain, you can price it for a lot more than what you're paying for. But like in the smaller jars, you don't have a lot of margins to work with. Having said that, like the choice was important, and it really helped a lot of people get, I would say, inducted into the Bihari pickles flavors. And yeah, so in hindsight, we do not regret that, except for the fact that if margins were better, we would have like also made some more money along the way.
So have you done any study, Aishwarya, in terms of people opting for that assortment sampling and continuing the journey forward? So what has been the conversion rate? Is it 30%, 40%? What exactly is it?
It stemmed from like a rise in negative feedback where people were saying that the pickle tastes different from what I was thinking. That feedback has almost virtually dropped. Like that feedback doesn't come anymore. Sample pack has its own feedback challenges. That, for example, when you're tasting 8 different pickles, you could feel like that 3 or 4 different pickles have a similar masala base to it. So same taste was a new feedback that appeared from that. We went in terms of like the cohorts, like what pickles do people order, like in terms again qualitatively we know that like people like that offering. We also when we launched it, we had like different budgets for our for the ads that were sending people to our collection pages, and the ads that were sending people to our sample pack pages. We noticed like a better customer acquisition cost, better comments, and better conversions happening through this funnel. That is the reason why we were able to scale it as well, and to the point that for a good chunk of time, sample pack was the offer for almost all first time customers, which is and they then graduated to a larger jar.
Great.
So yeah, that's my learning.
Okay. I think the learnings are well understood. The last question which I have for today webinar is for Sumit. Sumit, while you have expanded or tried expanding your business from online to offline, making the product available at the chemist stores rather than just being available online, what has been your learning experiences, challenges, which we can probably learn as D2C founders to avoid? If you can throw some light, will be of great help. Over to you.
Sure. So I mean, we are a bootstrapped company, and we deliberately chose to remain that way. When we saw that, digitally we were spending a lot in terms of building awareness for driving the sales through various channels that we are operating, whether marketplace, own website, or hyper local. So what was also happening parallelly was in the pin codes where our products are getting purchased, there was an offline demand which had started generating, right? And this also was a signal for us that there are retailers, pharmacy chains, chemists, etc., who reached out to us that they wanted this product. And although, we are a D2C heavy, D2C first company, we did not think it was much important then until in Jan 2025, because we do, hundreds of millions of digital impressions every month. And it is bound that, the same demand has to, culminate into offline, where people actually took screenshots of our products and went to chemist stores that, uncle, do you have this product? Or what does this product do, and they were confused as to what is this product. So that's where the offline demand started generating, which was also a good sign of a PMF. So we saw that there were consistent inquiries which were coming to us, and we had to take that seriously. So although we were not prepared to have a full size team of super stockists and distributors, ASMs, RSMs, etc., because that's a completely ball game and a completely different PNL, which requires a different investment, which itself, the thought of it was too much for us to even enter into it. So we thought, how could we do? What is our strength? So our strength is D2C, our strength is logistics, speed. So we started an inside sales engine where customers of B2B, right, could send their inquiries to us. we set up a call center with 5 people initially, which is now almost 60, 70 people. And they used to call them, understand their customer, who is this customer, where is it coming from. Obviously, we were very, very happy that it was all the Bharat cities that we had targeted. The chemist and local shops started inquiring, which also is a proof that the penetration of internet in India, which is more than 900 million, is working. And we thought that why don't you leverage this channel where you don't have a feet on street, you have a person attending the call, giving the trust to the retailer partners, sharing the proposal to them. Now, since we did not have a feet on street, we made it very easy for them, the chemists, to try our products. It was a simple bestseller pack of just one piece, which they could try. No MOQ, no pressure, a standard margin. And as soon as they started adopting this, repeat sales started coming in. And we also work with a lot of dermats. Now it was very important, and Ashish, you would know how difficult it is to get an appointment of a doctor, right? If you are an MR. So what we did was we actually ran ads specifically for dermats, and dermats filled out a form, and that form comes to us. So we are directly in the cabin of the doctor rather than waiting outside when the doctor will give appointment to us. So we got a lot of dermat inquiries where we shared our samples with them, and then eventually they converted into a commercial relationship. So right now, in the last 8 to 9 months, we are working with more than 2,000 plus dermats who are regularly prescribing our products to the patients. We have more than 5,000 plus chemists who are retail shops, some of them being cosmetic shops as well, or lifestyle shops, who are purchasing from us. Most Indian pharmacy chains that you have heard about, popular ones, most of them are also stocking our products now, and all of this happening digitally. So my message to the participants is, don't always go with the obvious. Think about innovative ways and channels of how you can reach to your B2B partners as well. And now we are very comfortable because we are there in almost every city. We have presence offline as well. Then if you decide to spend some money and build a team, it really works in your favor. So the offline learnings going online was easy for us because now, but if there is an offline, then you have to maintain a price parity. So be prepared for retailers, distributors to call your phone, send you screenshots that your product is available on Flipkart at this rupees and that rupees. So you have to make them understand what is the benefit of being our partner on Flipkart. You might find our product 50% off on a big billion day, but if I have a 20% margin with you, that is a price protection that is locked throughout the year, which you will continue to get. So a lot of these learnings came, and the tough part was handling them digitally because there is no face who can talk to them, right? So that was the challenge. However, our great team was able to solve that. We have a bunch of Gen Zs who are taking care of, speaking with distributors, retailers. So what we found is in offline, they don't forgive you for any ambiguity. So if your product is showing something, it has to be like that offline when they receive the product. And one important point for the participants is whenever you design a product, if you're going to do both online offline together, you have to be very sure because online the design is very different from what you do offline, and the kind of tones in kind of font sizes. If you are selling offline, the images are very different. If you want to list it on Amazon compared to if you want to list it in a particular store and make it visible to the customer, both ideologies are very different, which definitely everybody should take care of. Second advantage is in online, every time you need to bring a new customer by spending a certain dollar on Facebook or Meta, which is not the case here. You have a lifetime. If you don't goof up yourself, I think retailers don't go anywhere else. So offline builds loyalty. Online, I think loyalty is very scarce and very difficult to build. Lots of efforts. There is less. So if I would say difference there, again, the learning is offline care less about your brand story and how magnanimous your brand story looks on Instagram. They don't care two hoots about it. What they care is that your product should not have any complaints from their customers. It should move fast from the shelves, and there has to be zero drama about any kind of returns or exchanges. So if you take care of that, I think offline eventually will serve you well, but it's a lot of understanding and learning. if you want to do both of them together. So if your product survives offline without pushing, which we have to do online, then I think you have a real business. So that's the kind of learning we have, both doing online and offline. So in skincare, innovation earns the first purchase because people are very curious. Online will drive you awareness, discovery, and initial sales. Pricing earns your second, and but offline earns your right to exist for ages, is what I mean.
Absolutely. So we have seen brands like OnePlus, Lenskart, Mamaearth, all have been available online, but they have tried the offline route and they are surviving because they are delivering that particular quality to the customer. What I learned from you, Sumit, after hearing from you and meeting so many D2C founders, the way you have experimented to go B2B with this is offline sales, but with a purely online sales intent. So you have
Correct.
set up the entire engine for virtual salesman, I can say, because you don't have any feet on street, as what you told us. You have
Correct.
used virtual salesman, your call center, which is more than 60 plus, which is admirable, which is appreciable. Which is very difficult to manage because I have also seen how to manage a call center is so difficult. You have multi-language, and you don't see the customer on the other side, but you have managed it so beautifully. I really appreciate for what you have done. Leveraging offline sales using online techniques is something which I have personally learned from you today, from this session. With that, we come to the end of today's webinar, but I would like to ask all my participants today, what are the key takeaways that we are learning from the speakers today? It's not the GAN session, but it's something which we would like to implement in our story for growth, in our story for making our brands bigger, smarter, faster, better. So, what exactly are we learning today from our speakers? If you can please put it on the chat, we'll be happy to resonate and see if it has delivered the value to you today. I have learned a lot of things which I have kept notes of it, and definitely we will be converting this entire conversation into a ebook format, which I have promised to give it to all the people who are there with us till end of the webinar. We have the name of the winner who have also uh, participated and uh, done their self-assessment today. They are about 18 people who have done their self-assessment, out of which the first person who has responded the faster is Labdi. Can I have Labdi? If your team, can you spotlight Labdi Chopra? Hi, Labdi, how are you?
I, I am good, thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
congratulations.
Thank you. I just have one question also, if I can
Yeah,
ask.
please, please.
Basically, we are into Ayurvedic products for kids into beauty and personal care. So users benchmark us to Forest Essential or Kama Ayurveda directly, let's say. So now to manage the user expectation, because Forest Essential, Kama Ayurveda are 5x or 4x of our price, or they have been, or they have a premium, let's say. But now we are growing as a small D2C brand. We can't, let's say, at least right now, we are not mentally investing in that level of premiumness that a consumer demands. So, how do you manage that perception or the user's expectation from your product? Because, and if there is a, let's say, I would also want to understand what percentage you should allocate for packaging. I think a general rule is that, okay, you should have 25% COGS as your selling point.
Hmm.
But then in COGS, what should be the percentage of packaging and how should we think is something I would love to know. And thank you for the insightful session.
I'll take that. Love the great space to be. It's a huge market. I have a very close friend based out of Ahmedabad who runs a fairly well D2C Ayurveda brand into kids. So, what we have learned is the space that you are in is all about trust. Packaging second, trust first. So, think on ways how you can build trust because no parent would like to try new things on the kids, right? So, that's the most difficult thing. And once it is solved, it serves your, a very long LTV. So I think you need to have an offline and online approach both, where you spend a lot of time with parents and kids offline, which can help you in generating raw footages, which can ultimately become an ad when you do meta marketing. So this has worked because anyways Meta loves real content, right, in terms of advertising as well. So I think packaging, if you do it fairly decent, it's okay. Don't need to be extra premium, because what parents care is the product. If in Ayurveda, if you give the trust, the efficacy, and testimonials and videos and customer case studies work more. So your first priority should be get as many testimonials, as many parents to speak about your product and build trust. You need to have an inside sales trust engine rather than a packaging. It will only help your purchase first, but still you won't be able to make sure. They might buy it, but will they try it is the question, right? So build trust. I think that's my takeaway, having worked with a friend who does similar kind of business.
I have a couple of points, Labdi. So from a communication standpoint, you mentioned ki you would want to distinguish yourself from a Kama Ayurveda or Forest Essentials. Now, I could think of a couple of ways to do that. One is that I'm not sure what kind of ads or creatives you're running, but like in terms of your promotional materials, you could break away from that pattern itself. So if, for example, Forest Essential focuses on the product and gives it like deep shadows and like, so essentially the aesthetic style is something you could break away from. I would also like to ask and understand better whether how is your customer like looking different. So are they people who also use Forest Essentials and Kama Ayurveda, or are they not in the market for Forest Essentials or Kama Ayurveda at all, but still comparing it as an aspirational user maybe? Because in that case, if in the second case, if the person is not a Kama Ayurveda user, their lifestyle would likely be different from a Kama Ayurveda or a Forest Essential user, and making ads around that lifestyle and how your product fits into that lifestyle is a way to sort of shape the perception. A more tactical way is also to do a this versus that kind of creatives a lot, and maybe use that communication a lot in your marketing and sales, where you actively like point out that how this is a more value purchase as opposed to a Forest Essentials, which maybe is selling largely on the premium. So yeah, those are like by quick pointers in terms of differentiating yourself from more premium players in the market.
Thank you. Also, sorry, Sumit, you said Insight sales led a trust building. Would love to know more if that is possible. And also packaging as a percentage of cost, if there is any benchmark, would
I,
help.
I actually do not know much about your products, or so maybe what you can do is, in the interest of time, you can just DM me on LinkedIn. We can take it offline, because this definitely won't finish in 5-10 minutes.
Certainly. So we'll share the LinkedIn profile to our participants. You can definitely connect to them and take it forward. They will be more than happy to help you take this forward, because been there, done that as well. So what is the name of your brand, Labdi, if we may know?
Yeah, it's Mishmash Naturals.
Mismatch.
Uh,
Nice.
yeah.
Great. So we have a lot of other questions. So we have paucity of time. We can take a couple of questions. One question which is coming up from Alok. Alok says they are answers which are also coming in. So Alok says that Jaji store major customers are migrant Biharis. How online marketplace need to capture without knowing the purchase behavior? So Aishwarya, I think it is parked
Yeah,
to
I couldn't
you.
exactly. Right. I noticed the question. I couldn't exactly understand the question itself, but if I were to guess, like, or maybe Alok ji, would you
Yeah,
like to elaborate
Alokji, if
on
you
this?
are
Like,
there, you can probably unmute yourself on your video. We'll be happy to see you. Alokji has been consistent in all our webinars. We have so happy to have you here.
happy to
Alokji, you
hear.
have to unmute. We are able to see you. If you can, please unmute.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
loud
Alok
and
ji.
clear.
Sorry, sir. I just wanted to understand. Means, as we know that the majority of the Biharis, those who are outside, they love your pickles. Particularly, means that the kind of taste, the kind of essence which uh, the local Biharis formulation that can make which cannot be matched with the other regional players. So, but at the same time, means particularly if I see this, I had seen your Meta advertisements and all, and particularly if we see that the price point, which is quite higher as compared to the regional players, which I had put it in my consecutive questions also. So, how to
Right.
manage this, particularly into the marketplaces where we are not aware about the behavior of the person as well as the price point what they are exactly looking for.
Yeah, I got it. So, I mean, our conscious decision back then was to stay away from the marketplaces, because marketplaces have this pricing pressure on you. You cannot. So, right at the beginning, when we did, when we haven't told our story to the world, it was difficult to command like a 50-100% premium on the prevailing choices. Um, and we found that Amazon would be a better choice when we have like a competing offer. So for example, the most premium pickle that we saw was like selling at about 650 rupees a kg, while we were priced at somewhere in the 900 to 1200 rupees range, depending upon the flavor and the size that you were ordering. So when we felt that we could launch, let's say, an 800 rupees or 850 rupee per kg offer, that is when we activated the marketplace as a channel. And yeah, I mean, to your point, like it's going to be difficult competing for that premium pricing right away, unless and until, I mean, there are ways to differentiate on the marketplace itself. But just going, given that Amazon, for example, gives you the same space as every other brand, there is only so much you can do with the creative and the title and the captions and the descriptions. So I would say the room to do that is much less, and you would want a space for yourself where you can basically create your own universe to tell your story and build a premium positioning, and then use that to like use that to penetrate the marketplaces with offers that are competing. So in any kind of marketplace, whether I'm talking about Amazon or a Flipkart or a quick commerce marketplace, or whether that's online, Sumit can, or offline, Sumit can vouch for that. Like, you would need a competitive offer to be viable. But outside of it, like a direct to consumer website gives you that space to cultivate your core followers and establish like a premium positioning for yourself before you do that.
Certainly. So, like, why we had examples of Kama Ayurveda plus other brands which are affordable, which is Mama Earth, which is mostly on discounts. So, pricing is something which you have customers who they perceive it is something which they feel they can probably afford and they can give it a try. So many a times customers actually give it a try at premium category products also, and once they are getting a value of it, then they stick on to it. So loyalty comes later. It is first what Sumit was telling is that you have to make people buy, try, trust. So that is what I learned from Sumit. Let them buy, let them try, and let them trust. Great. So we come to the end of the today's webinar. I'll be more than happy from the participants to get a feedback on today's webinar, how has it served you. There is a QR code. You can also get a link which my team can put in the chat. Please let us know in terms of the quality of the content, the relevance to your business, if it has delivered the value that you're looking in for today. Team, can you please put the link in the chat? Yeah, so you can scan the QR code. You have any difficulty, the team will put a link on the chat for giving you a feedback on today's session. Yeah, thank you so much. So with that, we will end this particular session. We had people who are joining us from various parts of India, as well as Aishwarya joining us from US and delivering value to us, to our participants. Sumit has shared a lot of things which will definitely change the game if you really would like to implement and see the results. So on behalf of my speakers, Sumit, Aishwarya, I would like to thank all of you who have spent time with us today. As a token of gratitude, my team would like to gift two books to Aishwarya as well as to Sumit, which is from Gary Vee, the author where I personally follow and read. The book, which is 12 and a half, which we would like to send it to you so that you please read this and have a great time. With that, we come to an end of today's webinar. wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you. Sumitji, Aishwarya, anything last words from your side?
No, thank you. It was a wonderful discussion. I loved being here, and wish everybody a happy new year ahead.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Data Insight. Thanks, Ashish ji, Renuka, and the team. And it was great to hear my fellow speaker, as well as the questions from the audience was also great. So happy to be part, and Happy New Year in advance. Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you and look forward to meet you